Hi, hello there. This is Al, and depending on how you got here, this is another installment in my section, a reference section. This time to do with a new control that I've just added called a status bar. TsStatusBar. I think I called it. And it's right here. So in usual manner, if you haven't seen or watched already, in this same section there is a section, a video that shows initially how to add how I add the controls. The first step, as usual, is to search and look and see what I can make from MFC. And I did that, and I found their class for corresponding to a status bar. Theirs is called a CStatusBarCtrl. You want to see theirs quickly. That's the name of it. So here it is. These are the functions that I've added here. Okay, there aren't that many. The first thing that I noticed when adding this control is that, well, for one thing, I didn't know about all these extra functions. I thought that status bar had two parts, which is from experimentation. But in fact, a status bar is a thing that is separated into parts, generally speaking, and all of the parts are given widths, right, and text. So each part has its individual width and its individual text. You can look and see if this status bar has, it appears, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. Okay, and the parts, well, since you have to set the width of each part, the writing text to one part wouldn't affect the location and width of another part. They might get cut off or something, but essentially that's like a hard tab stop. Anyway, these are the functions, and again, they're just simple calls to Windows functions. To set the text, you set text. Now I changed the definition of this from there slightly. Pane here, they have an assertion that pane, which was defined as an int, and this should be capital, be less than 256. So I thought that instead of an assertion, I'll just make it impossible to make bigger than 256 by declaring it as a byte. And then type. Now type has to do with whether or not the section has a raised border, or has visible border lines. These don't. Notepads does. Here's Notepad's status bar. It is a two-section status bar. And the reason I'm sure of that, well, it might not be actually. You can, but I'm pretty sure it is. I see. They make theirs grow and shrink dynamically. Now what I've done with mine is slightly more advanced, I think, than your standard Notepad status bar. what I did was I made mine into a two-part status bar, and I just arbitrarily chose 250 in my notepad project. Now somewhere I draw a status. I declare and create a status bar. Well, here it is being. This is essentially the declaration, because it's a control. It has to have an identifier. It's declared in the class header. A CStatusBar here, and then to set the text of the status bar, where do I do that? Probably in here somewhere. Format string set title bar set status bar text. And what I'm doing is I have a two-part status bar, and actually I don't think I need these spaces here. Before I was putting spaces to try and see. Let me pause this for a second. I'll show you what I had before, because I don't have it anymore. Okay, this is from the last video. I don't want you to get confused here. This is the last video where I added the status bar, and I was doing it in a different way. I was just using another function called setStatusText, and nothing about sections or anything, and getting a strange result. And I spent some time trying to figure out why. For A, the font here is different than this font. This is the text I created the thing with, and when I did a set text, I get this bolded system-looking font, and I don't even know which font it is. I tried setting fonts, and whatever I did, I always get the same thing. Whereas if you saw there, Notepad's font is consistent in terms of this font, and well, what my ready text has this font, which is the same as this font and these here. Okay. Well, now that I'm doing it in a different way, which is this, I split my thing into two parts. Now the first part, I'm never setting the text out, because I've already done that right at the beginning. It says ready. The two-part status bar, I have the way you set the parts is you set the width of each part, and -1 just means go to the end. So the width of the first part I would like to be all the way up to the n minus 250, because I want the second part to be fixed width, unless this happens to be negative, in which case let's go by half. Okay, so just in general, it's 250, arbitrary number, and that's the text, and those are the functions. Now I'll just show you it working. This is my notepad project. So like the real notepad, two-section thing, that indicates row and column of the cursor. As you move around, this thing changes. Mine being a fixed width thing, its width doesn't change until I get to here, in which case it takes half. So it's dynamic for this range, and then fixed eventually for a larger range. I prefer that way, for it to be consistent as much as possible until it's impossible to be consistent anymore, in which case it behaves like Notepad. I don't really want this one, I want this one. Another feature that I have on my Notepad program, which poor old Windows Notepad is lacking, is what I just used there. Hotkeys for the recent file list that Windows Notepad doesn't have, I should point out. Oh yes, and another thing I added to this, although this is unrelated to this video, is the ability to turn that on or off. On or off, if you like. And that the on-off state is indicated by this little checkbox. Notepad also has that feature. See? Now I don't know why, but I decided to put it in both of them in one menu, whereas Notepad has an entire menu for exactly one item. That's the way they do things at Microsoft. Not here at Alan Carr Inc., where our menus are guaranteed to have at least 2 items. Okay, that's it for this, and now I'm going to continue back to the real business that I'm doing, which is completing this program. Okay, bye.